Hello my lovely bookish friends, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to this mid-year reading journal flick through. Not only is this my mid-year flick through, it's also the end of this reading journal. My last reading journal lasted me 2.5 years. I think the tabs are for the different years, so that one was 2.5 years. But then this journal has lasted me half of last year and then half of this year, which is pretty good for this mid-year flick through, because it means we'll be able to get to the middle of the year and then start a new journal. Honestly, I've been reading so much more than when I first started journaling. I can see like the difference between how I managed to do 2.5 years in one journal, whereas now it's only like half and half a year. It's amazing to see that I'm reading more and see kind of the different genres that I'm reading, and yeah, it's nice to see the kind of progression of my reading, and also just to look back and go, yes, I really loved reading this series, like Lockwood & Co. I had such a good time reading that series. I did not want it to end, and as you can see, I still haven't written the synopsis in for that one. You'll see when it gets into this year's part of the journal, these are still from 2023. I ended up taking out the synopsis parts because, as you can see, as I go through 2023, you'll see there's more and more that I just don't really write either much in it, or they're always what I was not wanting to do. So I just sort of ended up getting rid of the synopsis part and just making it a whole my thoughts bit, which you'll see more a bit later on. This is all still 2023 at the moment. I went all out for that Heartstopper mood board. I love doing mood boards for my favourite books, like My Happy Marriage. This was one of my favourite finds from 2023, and I just absolutely adore it. But as you can see, I do not want to keep writing the synopsis for that story, which is another reason why I ended up getting rid of it for this year. Now we're reaching the end of 2023. Oh, Little Women mood board, I really like that one. And actually, Narnia was one of my favourite mood boards from last year. I thought that was just one of those ones which I really enjoyed. Now, here we are for this year, 2024, and we start to see a bit of a change. I added in a series tracker, which is actually really helpful, and I was sort of in debate when I set up my new journal whether or not to put this into the new one or whether to just keep using this one. And at the moment I've decided that I'm just going to keep using the tracker from this journal until I've like ticked off a few more series, and then re-put in a series tracker in the new journal. I also added in sort of seasonal books, like TBR sort of, and books that I brought to keep track of. This was one of my favourite mood boards so far of this year for the Harry Potter, which is a series I reread at the start of this year and just absolutely loved. As you can see, there's no synopsises anymore, like I mentioned. It's all just my thoughts, which sometimes it means that I can really just go into what I liked about a book, like with What the River Knows and Persuasion here. Sometimes you do find that my writing just gets bigger so that I can fill up that space. I bought quite a few books you can see there in spring, and then my Read This Maybe is what I call a TBR, because I find the notion of a TBR that I've got to read books, that I find that a bit stressful. As I go through this, I can actually see there's still a few bits that I need to add in. I keep track of my journals both digitally and in this physical journal, so there's some details that I'm missing in this, like in this page, the like pages and format and stuff which is missing in this journal that I need to add in because I've got it still on my Notion journal, so I just need to transfer that information. I love this Anna Green Gables mood board as well. So in my journal, obviously I keep track of the name, author, genre, whether it's a series, and started, finished, pages, format, reread, recommended, those kind of things. And then I also keep track of the quality of writing, the plot development, characters, emotional impact and world building, as that helps me decide what kind of star rating I give it. This is my first time trying out a different layout for 7 Time Loop because I binge read all the light novels very quickly. And then for this year I also added in my mid-year book freakout tag. I added in the books that I decided for the different questions for that into my journal, which I quite like, as it just made me be able to look back at the books I kind of chose for different things, and it kind of just, I don't know, I just really liked this page in the end, especially how I just did the little kind of notes for why I chose each book for each question. So I'm quite happy with how that one turned out. Then summer, I brought a lot of books in summer. They were all really good priced, but there was quite a lot of them on there. Quite a few I have read though, so that is good. Now we're reaching kind of the end of this journal. And there we are. It feels a bit weird to be finishing this journal, but it's kind of finished in a good spot because it is right on the mid-year mark, which means I can go into this next journal and just continue where I left off. And for this journal, I feel like it's not as big as some of my previous journals. It was actually a book journal that I just brought from Flying Tiger really cheaply. I think it was like £4, something like that in their sale, and I don't think it has as many pages, so it may only last me the rest of this year. I'm not quite sure if this could be able to go on further because it is a smaller journal, but that doesn't matter anyway, because if it does just finish this year off, that will also work well, because it means in my next journal I can start next year with a new journal potentially. As you can see here, what I'm just doing is doing the sort of starter page. I actually don't have much to set up for this journal because it's still mid-year between this journal and last journal. This year and last journal, because I finished that journal midway through a year. There's not as much I need to set up because I'm not going to move my series tracker just yet, because I'm not sure if, I haven't done that much on the series tracker that's in my last journal, so I feel like I want to actually just use that page a bit more before I transfer it, and then I can see just how much I use it. I do like the series tracker, I have to say. I feel like it's quite helpful to see the series that I am in between, and so I can actually go back, and it just feels satisfying to tick off the books in the series. I feel a bit more motivated to read the books that I need to, in the series that I need to continue, as I am sometimes quite bad at like getting to a certain point in a series and then just not reading onwards, usually because I'm a bit concerned about how the series is going to go, and I'd rather leave it at a point where I can just imagine that things all end well. To be fair, I haven't been reading that many series. I kind of prefer standalones because I just don't necessarily like the whole waiting and seeing how everything goes and hoping that, you know, things end well for my characters. Whilst I love seeing the characters like in more books and, you know, spending more time with the characters, at the same time I'm quite nervous to see how they're going to end up. I'd rather just know straight off the bat whether or not they're going to be happy. But because I am because I am starting this journal midway through a year, I've added in this page where I can keep track of all the other books that I've read this year. I did this last time around when I started mid-year, and I actually really love how these pages look. I like how you can see all the books just lined up there together, and I think it's something that I might add in at the end of the year as well, so I can just really see these are all the books that I've read in a year. Let me just give you a bit of a close-up of how I've done this sort of title page. That is a little postcard which is a quote from Jane Austen. It's from Northanger Abbey, and I just thought it was really well suited for a book journal. It's quite simple, and like I said, I haven't got much to set up for this journal, but I do love doing the title pages. I just find them so much fun. I just go all out with my stickers and stuff. And here we go again. This is all just the books that I have read this year with the little ratings, and yeah, I just really like how these pages look, so I think I might have to do one for the end of the year as well. And as I have nothing more to set up for this journal, this brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time, my lovely bookish friends.